Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes, all the product I'm using, all the dimensions are listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products. There is a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. There's my email if you have any questions. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. This is called Autumn Trees, and it is in the new mini catalog that is coming out, looking at my dates, on the 3rd of September, next week. And it belongs to a very large suite that I will be showing you on Monday next week, on the 2nd of September. But today I seen this and it just popped in my head that I wanted to make a shaped tree masculine card for a birthday. And so that's what I decided to do. So I'm going to show you the card. I'm going to show you how I made it. Now, there's no verses with this, and I wanted it to be a birthday card, and I knew what verse I wanted to use. So it's a retired set, One More Year. It was in the last chance list, but it has now gone. I checked this morning. But I wanted to use Happy Birthday, Another Wrinkle Wiser. I love the verses in this set, and I wanted that particular verse for this card. So, you want to see the card? It is a shaped tree. And you can see the birds on my tree, and there's a deer in my by my tree. And it opens like that. And you're all saying, does it stand? Yes, it stands. Now, I'm going to tell you, by putting this where I put the reason this is, well, first it needs to be on the ground, but second, you need to do it, don't put too much weight. If you want to put a saying or something up here, don't put too much weight at the top or it will topple over. If you do want to put weight here, you'll need to add something back on this panel to even out the weight. But when you put it at the bottom, all the just goes to the bottom. It's gravity. So yes, it stands, but it's a very cute card. I think rather unusual too. So I'm going to show you how I made this card. So let's start with some stamping. And I am going to be using my Stamparatus. You can use any stamping platform you want. If you didn't want to use a stamping platform, you could use the big block. I just find I can't get it enough weight onto that to, get there for my thing. So I have mounted this on my Stamparatus. So you use what you have. And if I remember right, it was hooked up right with that one there. Make sure I've got that all lined up. I do. Grab my tennis ball, and what we're using is Early Espresso. I'll move this over, and I've put the case here to put something underneath, so I have plenty of pressure there. When I put pressure on it, it's not flying around on me. And we're gonna do this whole thing in Early Espresso. Make sure you get it good and covered. Set that off to the side. It's one thing with a stamping platform. If you didn't get it dark enough, you can go back again. Yeah, I need a little more pressure on this side here. And I think that looks pretty good. But by doing this, you see I have the spot that was it. Oh, there's one little spot right there. Hang on. There's so much detail in this little thing. I'll just go over it one more time. Make sure I've got it. That looks good. But if I needed to re-ink this, I could. And the first one I did re-ink. This one I'm not going to, because it looks perfect to me. Okay. So I will take that off and clean that up later. I should find some place to set this so it's not going to get a cat into it. Okay, so we have a couple other things to do. We need to stamp our deer, and we're going to do him in early espresso as well. I think it was early espresso. Well, we're doing an early espresso this time. We'll put him right there. And that looks pretty good. Now we're going to do some coloring. Actually, we're going to cut first and then color. So we need the dies to cut this and the deer. Here's the one for the deer. And there's 2 dies. Now you can just cut out the outline of this, like that. Or you can cut out pieces on the inside, which we're going to be doing. So we'll need both of those. Now you could color this ahead of time, but I found coloring it after was just as easy. So, and the other thing we're going to need is a piece of Balmy Blue cardstock. Now this piece of cardstock is 6.5 by 5. Make sure I get that right. Scored at 3 1/4 and given a good burnish, because this is the base of our card. So let's get cranky over here. Got plate 1, 2, and a 3. Another 3. And grab some Post-it tape. And first we're starting with just this one. I'm going to try to get this in there so you can see it. What you want to do is you want to line your tree up. You see where this one is? I want that just like that. So you're lining it up. So you've got a pretty good gap here, but it's this one here where it needs to be right at the edge. If you're off a little bit, it won't make that much difference. Just put that there to help hold that in place. I don't want it moving on me. And that becomes the base of our card, our tree. So we'll set that off to the side for a moment. Bring our plates back. So the first thing I'm going to line up is the frame. I'm going to set this in here. I'm also going to put these back on. And then you're going to be lining this up. And you can see all these big open areas. And you're going to move this around just ever so slightly. And I know it's probably hard for you to see on camera. And they don't have to be exact. I wasn't worried about exact. I'm just lining this up so it looks, cuts this out good. And if they are off a little bit on the branches, it really doesn't make that much difference. But you can almost just see you're lining it up right here and this one here. Just lining up these bottom ones. And then the outside frame. About like that. And we'll run it through the machine. Like I said, it's not hard to line up. And so we have this one going through. And then we will come back and kick all those pieces out in just a second. We do have our little deer to cut out. We don't want to forget him. Make sure he's all lined up. Like that. And that should be all of our die cutting. Do have just a little more stamping too, but we'll go ahead and unveil all these guys. So here is our little deer, and this I'm going to grab I know I brought it in here. So much for a thought. I thought I brought it in here. I have my little scrubbing mat. I thought I grabbed it, but I didn't. So we'll use this. So we have this tree shape. There's the tree. Put these in my bowl here. And we're going to pull this piece out. You can see all these pieces stuck in here. We'll get those out. I'll get those all out later. But we do need to do a little bit of weeding on this. Not much, just a little bit. And I found weeding this was easier to look at the back than the front. I'll flip this over and you can see what I'm talking about. There's that side. This side's easier to see the pieces for weeding. There's not much. Most of it stayed in the die. So that looks good. So that's all of our pieces out of that now. Okay, we have a little more stamping to do. And I'd recommend whatever you're going to put inside this piece here, you do before this goes on. And I'm going to put my verse, and I'm going to use Early Espresso. And I'm going to put that right there. Just like that. So that's that part. And the other part I forgot to do while we've got the Early Espresso out is I was going to put a deer on the front of my envelope. And that is the end of the stamping. And the end of the Early Espresso. So we got this piece, and we have our deer, and we have this. So now it's time to color. Now, this is fast colored. We're going to use Granny Apple Green. We're going to use Garden Green. We're going to use Pecan Pie and Crumb Cake. So let's do the deer first. This is just a piece of grid paper I've got folded up here. I've been using it for a while. When it gets really nasty, I'll get rid of it. There's nothing wrong with it right now. I am not getting very particular about this. And you could do this before you cut it out. That's the coloring on my deer. Like I said, I am not getting fancy with this. So that was the crumb cake. Now the tree. We're going to start with Pecan Pie. Just one moment. And get some good pecan pie on my brush. You can use a little brush, big brush, whatever you want. Capping off to make sure I don't have any big blobs. And I'm going to start down here on my trunk. And I'm trying to stay where the branches are. Can you see where the branches go through here? And there, a little bit of branches through here. If you're on the green a little bit, it won't hurt. A little bit up here on the branches. A little bit. And a little bit there. Let's pull that up a little bit so I can see it a little better. So that looks pretty good for the branches. Because when you look through a tree, you see brown. So it doesn't make any difference. Next, we're going to do Granny Apple Green. Loading up my brush. I'm going to tap off, make sure I have no big spots anywhere. And I'm just holding the trunk, and I am starting to go all over this with Granny Apple Green. Right to the outside. Oh, I need a little brighter than that. Especially at the sides. That looks pretty good. And now we'll come in and put a little bit of garden green in there to darken up the center area. I'm not going everywhere on this, just in spots. I'm going to take a good look at it. That's not bad, but I think I want a little bit more of this, and I'm not adding more. I'm just taking and blending this over the top. Oh, that looks good. I like that. A little brighter in spots. That is the coloring of the tree. I know you're all thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to color this tree. It's going to take me forever to color a tree. No, it's not. Okay, let's build this card. We've already stamped the inside of our base. We're going to do this. So I am going to use my silicone mat. And I am using glue, because glue gives you wiggle room. And we're going to go sparingly a little bit. I'm going to get, hang on, I have a glue boogie. And I'm catching it on the paper. There. So, move out of the way for a second. I'm going to put glue on the base and on the trunk. There's lots of areas to stick glue, but don't get too close to the sides and don't get too carried away. You see where I'm putting glue. But if you notice, I'm not getting, there's no big blobs. I'm actually taking the tip here and spreading it around. A little bit there. Doesn't take a ton. Now I'm going to bring this back, make sure it's all going the right direction. I'm going to put this on here and start lining this up. Now if you manage to do this with tape, you go for it. But I can tell you, glue is the easier way. Now you're saying, did I get glue on this side? A little bit. And I'll show you how to fix that. You don't want to get glue right on that side. But the reason for the Balmy Blue paper is that's my sky. Now I have just a touch of glue right there. And I will take my finger and wipe it off. And if it's still tacky a little bit after a short while, I will grab my glue thing and just erase it. But it shouldn't be. I wiped it off pretty quick, so no, it's not going to be tacky. So that little bit hangs over, but that's that part of the tree. And he already stands. Okay. Next, we have to hook him on here, and we have to do it in such a way that he's not going to cause the thing to tip over. So I want to put it up on dimensionals. So I know I need one here, and I need one right behind that antler. So I am going to be using mini dimensionals, but if you don't have minis, cut some big ones down. So I said it was this antler here. And a mini just barely fits there, barely. And then I'll use another one across his bum. Be like going across like that. And I can put one more down on his foot, his leg. So all of them are on this side. And then I just tuck that in there, like that. And there we go. Okie dokie. And next, I decided we needed some brass birds. Like I said, I was keeping this card pretty simple. So let's put a bird here. And another one about there, and another bird going the other direction. And that is my masculine bird. It doesn't have to be for a man. A woman would love to get this too. But this is a masculine card for a particular person, and who, by the time this video airs, he will have already received his card. So there's my card. I hope you enjoy that. A shaped birthday card for a man. So everybody have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.